Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time since I've made a video, but I've been eager to have a conversation on this topic. It's just been really hard to verbalize it and to articulate it into words that I feel like remain true to me without being too harsh or being too, I guess, like pessimistic in a way. If those of you who don't have TikTok, there was this girl that got on TikTok and talked about how she was jealous of her friends and how it really impacted her perspective of her. And she goes on to say that her friend didn't know that she was jealous of her. I would argue to say that more than likely, the friend was picking up on these signs, but it's a very hard thing to confront. So I don't think it was ever really acknowledged because you never want to say like, oh, I think you're jealous of me. That's just, it's never going to go well. And of course the other person is going to deny that. But I think what stood out to me the most is in the video, she kept downplaying her friend's achievements. Her friend became a lawyer. And of course she was sitting here saying she didn't have to work for anything. She had everything handed to her, constantly downplaying every hard work and effort she did. If it's coming from a loving place, you would never say those things. You would acknowledge the hard efforts. Yeah, she worked really hard. And it's okay, in my opinion, to wish that you had something that somebody else has, but it's not okay when you disrupt their achievements and make it seem as if they didn't do anything. And you have this negative perspective because what kind of connection is that? And that's kind of why I wanted to make this video, because this is something that I've learned in my late 20s. And like I said, it's really hard to talk about because it sounds so self-absorbed and just difficult. You're like, oh, you're thinking everyone's jealous of you when that's not the case. That isn't always the case, but I will say it is more common than not. So that's why I'm really glad that this girl made this video to show that it is a problem. And I will say this, I don't think she is the most dangerous person in the room because she's at least self-aware. I think what makes jealousy so difficult is it operates at a subconscious level and people don't even realize that they're jealous. They're just taking digs at their friends and downplaying their achievements, disappearing when things are going great for them, but appearing when everything is going down for them. It's a very hard thing to navigate when you're on the receiving end of that. I wanted to make this video because it can be hard to detect if someone may be struggling with insecurities that are spewing onto you, or they may just be flat out jealous. I think insecurities and jealousy go hand in hand, so that's kind of why I mentioned that. So for example, if they're insecure about where they're at physically, they're gonna pick your body apart. And I think that that can be so misleading because you're just so confused on why they're constantly critiquing the state of your body. They'll notice minor changes, positive and negative, but still, I think it's crazy to analyze someone's body constantly. And that is something I've personally dealt with, and I'm sure a lot of you may have dealt with, because that's just one example. It could be so many different things. It could be your success at a career. They could be constantly trying to one-up you with salaries and like maybe intelligence, on downplaying the fact that your role is something that theirs isn't, and vice versa. They could have the superiority complex where they're saying, oh, well, I have my PhD, you just have your master's degree or your bachelor's degree. Even though you may be doing better, like whatever is triggering their insecurities, they will show you that. And sometimes you can have a relationship with someone where it's every single avenue of your life, your relationship, your work, your body, everything. And again, that may not be that they're jealous of every little aspect of your life, but their insecurities are spewing onto you. And then they're nitpicking you. What's frustrating about dealing with somebody that's nitpicking is the fact that if you were to do that to them, I can guarantee you that insecure person would not handle it well. Just like you feel the little stings and you feel the dig, it's hard to feel okay when they're like, how is that supposed to make you feel when they're making a comment about your nose? Like, truly, if they're saying your nose is a little big, like, what am I supposed to do with this information? Am I supposed to feel good about myself here? No, they just wanted to throw something, highlight a negative or something that's perceived to be negative to make themselves feel better. And there's no way that that can create a safe, loving relationship and bond. And I think that's a big issue with friendship. And that leads me to point number 2. I do think friendships have certain types of banters. Like there's some friends that you know you can make subtle digs in a joking way. But I think there's a line that can be crossed. I think that there's a level of jokes that are funny and maybe, I guess, darker. And then there's also disrespect. I think your jealous friend is taking the disrespect and masking it as a joke. And that is where I draw the line. That is where I have gotten the most heat, I feel like. And it's very hard because it's never even funny. And I think that's what's frustrating, because it's just, you can tell that they just were dying to say this one negative comment. And it could be about anything. It could be about your level of intelligence. It could be about your physical appearance. It could be about your economic situation. It could be about your family. It could be about any issues that you may be dealing with, mental health, all of those things. It's never anything that's, I don't know, like situational. I feel like it's so funny. And so for me personally, the banter that I like is situational. Like if I just did something that's embarrassing, please make fun of that. But don't go after my integrity, who I am as a person, and appearance, and my life status. Because to me, that almost gives that you're showing that you feel some type of way about that and you want to showcase that. I think that is the most difficult thing for a lot of young adults or young women to address, because it's so easy to brush it off like, I was joking. No, you weren't. You weren't joking. So like, and when you tell them, oh, that like hurt my feelings, you're labeled as sensitive. And it's just used as an excuse for them to constantly disrespect you. So to me, that's a huge red flag. A, the nitpicking. B, the disrespectful jokes. C, this one hurts. This one is very difficult because they're there. They are there. Front row and center when your life is in shambles. They are there. And it's so hard because I feel like that's where you bond with this type of person the most. And you do need people when you have nothing. You do need people when life is really giving you a run for your money. But you also want them to be there when life takes a turn, because that's life. Life, you'll have your highs and lows, the same with them. And I think what makes a solid foundation of a friendship and a bond is to be able to be a part of all of those things. But for whatever reason, these types of people, now, tell me if you are thinking of someone with all of these things I've said so far. They're there when you are rough, when it's rough, but watch when your life gets better. They will be disappearing. And I think that is the most painful part, because you make all these excuses for them. You see that they are struggling and you take the digs, you take the bullets, and yet again, they can't see you happy. And I think that was what hurts me the most personally, because if you truly loved me, you would want to see me succeed. And same with you. Like if your friends truly love you, they will want to see you succeed. Just like they will also celebrate your wins. Just like they won't disrespect you. And if they do, here's the thing. If they do make those jokes, it's one thing if it's once in a blue moon, but when you recognize a pattern, that's the key. And then when you add that on top, when you add the disappearing when things are going great in your life on top, it can feel like you invested into a relationship that was one-sided the entire time. You knew, and then you're full of resentment afterward. So I will say this, I think it is important to try to articulate how you feel to this person throughout your friendship, because it can be so hard later when you bring up all of these things. It can be really difficult to rebuild that connection because they've been doing nothing but burning it down. Just like I kind of think that girl did in the video. She stated that her friend did not pick up on her jealousy. I promise you, she probably did. But she didn't want to say anything because, like I said at the beginning of the video, no one wants to sit here and say, I think you're jealous of me. I think jealousy is a very complex feeling. There's a level of normalcy to it. We all, like I kind of said just now too, we all have highs and lows. When you're at your low, you want to be at your high. And when you're watching your friends at their high while you're at your low, you're like, damn it, I want to be there too. And I think that is normal. But I think you still need to show up for the people that you love and put on a good face for them and be supportive. Come from a place of true love and true authentic feelings for them. And if you can't, leave them alone. There's no reason to be in their life. I think the most toxic way to be is to not like someone, because truly, if you are struggling with jealousy, you do feel like you don't like them. Like, I can't imagine putting someone down constantly, because I'm constantly putting them down in my head if I'm verbalizing it, right? And if I'm putting them down and verbalizing it, I'm not feeling good when I walk away from that social encounter. So it's like, why would I want to be around somebody that I am clearly having some sort of negative feelings towards? So I think I have a lot of passion when it comes to this topic, because I did watch how my 20s unfolded by valuing certain friendships that were like this. And I think a lot of young girls can do that, and you don't realize that you're kind of self-sabotaging yourself. And for me personally, I struggled with deep insecurities, right? But I was always really good at making sure I never took it out on people. I did have feelings of jealousy at some points in my life, like in my early 20s, but I would just not be around those people that made me feel super intimidated. And then eventually I did a challenge for myself. I was like, okay, if I'm feeling insecure around this person, let's hang out with them and let's see how they are. And eventually I would grow to like some of these people, and now I'm confident myself. And I also want to point out the fact that all throughout high school was really hard for me. I didn't have someone to buy me a vehicle. I didn't have a lot of things that a lot of teenagers have. Like, I didn't have the nice clothes. I didn't have much at all. It's truly. And I had to watch my friends get everything. And I probably felt some type of way then. I can't really go back to that mindset because that was over 15 years ago at this point. But I had to watch people win when I was not winning. And I think that's something that as a society that we should learn to get used to, and learn to be supportive. Your time will come, and your wins are not going to look like theirs, and vice versa. So I think that is something that a lot of girls could work on, and particularly, we all are navigated to struggle with comparison when it comes to our appearance, our success, whatever it is. I think we should learn to celebrate each other's differences, and it's okay to not have it all figured out. You can figure it out, but you're not going to figure it out by putting other people down. And that's my biggest takeaway from this. Spread love, don't spread jealousy. And if you feel envious, just try to work on it. Again, I'm really glad that girl made that video, because this made it a little easier for me to even talk about. And I've tried to talk about this so many times, it just never could come out right. But I hope everyone has a great day, and that you surround yourself with people that uplift you and don't tear you down.